All right, so everybody behave. We're recording. I'm going to go over real quick. Hey, Maggie, how are you? Good. Okay, I'm going to attempt to share screen here too, so then we'll have the screen and you guys can see this if it works. Yep. Okay. I think you guys know me, but for anyone that doesn't, I'm Susan Parker, and we're going to cover really quickly kind of what is going on with the program, and then I'll let you guys ask questions. So, can you see the screen? I just want to make sure you guys can see that. Do you see that more than 90% of American adults have metabolic dysfunction?
Yeah.
Okay, see if I can make it full screen for you. Okay, so this basically is the problem. More than 90% of Americans have some form of metabolic dysfunction. And this is what we talk about a lot. So many people come and they say, I have heart disease, or I have hormone issues, or I have thyroid issues. We don't have a single issue like a doctor gives you, a diagnosis. The problem is that if one system isn't working, then it begins to affect another system, and then that system affects another system. So we see that a lot with fat. For instance, if you are eating high sugared foods, which there's sugar in everything, hidden sugars, and the fake sugars still raise blood sugar, we have slowed metabolisms. And so that food doesn't process. The sugary foods and high carbs are processing super fast, but more than our body and insulin can take care of. So that is getting stored as fat. That's where the problem is coming in, is we're becoming fat storing machines. So the fat starts to accumulate around the liver. Now the liver isn't detoxing as well as it should. And then it kind of works its way around the kidneys. You guys have probably seen the video that we've put out before, but now the kidneys aren't filtering as well. It begins to cover the pancreas. The pancreas releases insulin, and now we start to see thyroid hormone issues. It works its way into the heart, into the brain, and we just continue to have more and more problems, including digestive. So, this is what we're trying to fix. As we get rid of that fat and target the fat, now the body begins to work like it should. So, this is what we are going to be addressing. Because 90% of Americans have this is why you hear him talk a lot about we need help. We can only talk to so many people. So, as people see you getting healthy, obviously we want our friends and family to as well. The more people getting healthy around us, the more community you have. Thanksgiving looks different, Christmas looks different if people aren't coming in and sabotaging you with a bunch of bad food. So that basically means if 90% are sick or unhealthy, only about 10% of Americans are metabolically healthy. That means they're physically healthy, mentally healthy, financially healthy, families, communities, the whole works. So this is kind of the pandemic that really we need to address in America. And that's where our metabolic synchronization comes in. So we have been able to have a lot of breakthroughs in the science community as far as reversing metabolic dysfunction. And so for over 40 years now, whether it was Medifast or Optavia or now Trivily, we are actually seeing the reversal of these things. We took all of our information to FDA, and that's why we have launched as a metabolic company now. We're no longer just seen as a weight loss company. We can reverse metabolic dysfunction. We can reverse insulin resistance, which causes hormone problems like PCOS or type 2 diabetes, the insulin resistance, and the endometriosis, you name it.
Be
For
bigger.
men, yeah, and for men, if they have issues, they have issues just like women have issues. So anything like that. But we see blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugars, all of those coming into balance. And that's what's exciting. So we've heard about those in the past, but now because of the studies and what we've shown from everybody who's been on program and the successes we've had, we know the top four that I just mentioned. But what we also are seeing is fatty liver is going away. We improve joint health, bone health, digestive health. We see so many different clients having a lot of success and that struggled before with IBS or even the reflex and things like that are now going away. PCOS, which I brought up, is now called PMOS. So, what was previously called the polycystic ovarian syndrome, which also leads to infertility, is now called PMOS, and we're glad that the medical world has come around to see that the PM stands for metabolic. So it's all metabolically tied with hormone health. sleep health, mental well-being, and quality of life. So these are the 12 key points and key outcomes that we are really helping clients with metabolically. Let's click into this. So this is where the exciting stuff comes in. We have a new MetaVantage formula. So they have taken our amazing products. It doesn't mean anything was wrong with Optavia, but they have just taken that and they have improved it even more. So what is happening is that and I'll show you exactly the breakdown of what they have added, but with this new MetaVantage formula, we are seeing things happen even quicker. The metabolic health is happening quicker. The muscle functioning is people are getting stronger, maintaining the muscle, building muscle while still losing the fat. And so we are seeing age drop even quicker. So these are some exciting things we're seeing with this. And that's what Trilivy is. They took everything great with Optavia. Now we have a special formula that they have added that only our company has in our products with the new MetaVantage. And here's a little bit of a breakdown. So what they added to what we existingly had was a postbiotic, chromium picolinate, and choline. So I know the C's kind of get everyone confused, but you can see the L in choline, think L liver. So the choline, what that does is it helps support the fat metabolism in the liver. So we're seeing the fat come off even quicker. And that, along with the postbiotic, we're seeing the inches drop. With chromium picolinate, that has always been used to help balance blood sugars even more. So we already saw tremendous success with that, but now we're seeing that enhanced as well. So again, everything great with Optavia, the same amazing results, now just enhanced. And here's how the system works. Similar to what we had before, we're focusing on three things, which the Trilivy, the tri, is the key. Everything comes in threes. So tri meaning healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances, because honestly, those are tied together. If you don't have healthy finances, causes stress on the mind. If you're stressed in the mind, then we see the body deteriorate. The same is true of all of those areas. If you don't have a healthy body, now it can start to affect you emotionally, physically, then your work, you're not working as well, and you see finances go down. So we want to help target all of those areas and really get everyone healthy in every way. How that's going to be done is a three-phase, very similar to what we had before. But the problem was everybody got stuck in phase one. That is what we call our reset, the metabolic reset, where we're focusing on reversing metabolic dysfunction, losing weight, losing fat, losing inches while maintaining the muscle. But we're really building that foundation of optimal health while working on the mindset. So that's the important part. But we're not going to just leave you there. And this is where I see people make the biggest mistake. They have the weight loss and then they want to stay what we call in 5-in-1 jail and be comfortable. But that's not what it's about. It's about losing the fat and then learning how to bring the foods back in, which is where our refine comes in. We've reset the metabolism, you've lost your weight, you've gotten to your goal, and now we want to start refining. And this is where this is so important. On the reset, we don't tell you not to exercise. That's a big mistake. We say do not get into cardio. We want you walking, we want you toning and building muscle. We do want you active. And now on the app, you're going to be able to see that, and they define the exercise a little bit better. But the refine stage is so important because once we have lost that fat and you're where you want to be, the goal is to build muscle. What activity will you start doing? And why muscle is so important is muscle is your number one organ that uses glycogen. Glycogen is stored glucose. So think about that and how that works. Women don't have as much muscle. We're more likely to have the type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance even more than men. And it happens for everybody as we age. So that's why it's super important. If you continue building the muscle uses the glycogen glucose more, and now you're going to have better insulin balance as well as we're eating from the low glycemic index. So again, the same thing is not just, oh, we're eating less. Our whole system has always been you are eating portion controlled foods, that you are eating macro balanced foods, meaning the right amount of protein to keep you full, the healthy fats, healthy carbs. But the most important part is that you're eating low glycemic. We have to keep that insulin pump off and the sugars down. So step two, once we are to the healthy portion, this is where refine comes in. We're building the muscle and we're going to keep getting healthier. And then stage three, that right now would kind of be what you think of as the Ascend products. As we help you bring the whole foods back in, you still have Ascend, you have that for more calories. And then once we get into Renew, that is going to be our new line. Think what's new. And so, what will you do for optimal health? What will you do for sleep health, for brain health, to really make sure that you're living in optimal health? We'll help you figure out what supplements you need at that point, because as you have not using, if you're not using as many of our current products that already have the vitamins, the minerals, the supplements in that, we want to make sure that you're being taken care of for your individual needs. So, this is kind of how the program will work. If you are not getting involved in the coach in the community, we still have the four parts to our system because it's still so important. The food, we want you to do, if you're just doing the food, it's a diet. The community is where you're really going to find that support and encouragement, both online as well as, and that's the Live Right page I'm talking about, which is where we're going to get the recipes now, as well as building a healthy community around you. I haven't seen anybody that has lost the weight and kept it off that doesn't have some community and support somewhere else. If everyone around you is eating terrible, it's really hard to stay that way. So we have found that those who stay in touch with their coaches lose 10 times more weight and 17 times more fat. So we now have what's called the Navigator in our new client hub. There's a circle right at the very bottom. You can ask. AI has been trained almost any question for 5-in-1, and that's amazing. But that does not replace your coach. So, one, if you're not taking your coach call, make sure that you are having that connection and accountability, because that is where we really want you dialing in, having the accountability. If you aren't losing weight each week, then let us help you tweak that or change it based on what you're willing to change. But if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. And nobody wants that. That's not why we came to program. So our goal is to help you do that. The easy questions, if you're at the grocery store and want to ask, are veggie straws a vegetable on the 5-in-1? That's pretty much going to be a no, but you can ask Navigator and it will help you. But then on the bigger questions and the accountability, I really encourage you keep taking advantage of the coaches there. So again, the four pillars are 25% of it is the food that we keep easy. 25% of it is the coach that you're going to have the relationship. 25% is the community, which is the support. And again, we're going to help you build that. But the most important part is the education, changing the mindset, changing the habits, because this is a lifestyle change. So here are some of the exciting results. We had a few coaches that got started and tried this for 23 weeks. This is one of my friends, Cynthia, and you can already see the difference here. And so the way she explained it to me is she's like, Susan, we still have the same great weight loss. But she said, what I noticed, she said, I've always been built like a tree stump. And she said, I never had a waist, but she said, I really saw the inches come off. So I'm going to jump in here just so that you can see her actual numbers. And probably the most exciting are these last two numbers, even though all of them are great. The visceral fat dropped 55% in just 23 weeks. And so it went from a 20 to 9. That is going from obese to almost like normal range where she's healthy. The visceral fat, again, is the fat around the organs that puts you more at health risk. So that was incredible to see. She dropped 5 years of her metabolic age. That's huge in how healthy you are and getting years of your life back. But again, you can see she gained skeletal muscle. Her body fat decreased 15%, and she lost 52 pounds. So if you're trying to break that down, you can just divide that. That's a little over 5 months is what she did. So we're seeing even better results than what we saw before, which is what we're excited about. And this is what it's going to look like. They're reformulated. I got mine, so I didn't wait to start. I went ahead and started. I will tell you, everything that I have had, not all of our products have been reformulated yet with the new MetaVantage included in it. But the ones I've had, every single one of them tastes better to me than they did before. I was never a chicken noodle soup fan, but I actually like the chicken noodle soup now. So those are the kinds of things that are neat. The company has listened and they're always trying to improve for us. So I'm super excited about the direction we're going. I know that there has been a lot of change really quickly. As of August 1st, the whole app is going away. So if you've saved pictures, if you've saved weights, please go in and copy those down. If you are wanting something like that, what we're saying is use MyFitnessPal or the EatWise app, and you can still track your food that way. but you're going to want to use the client hub, and we want everybody getting back into their community pages now for all of the recipes and for help. So we're excited about where it's going, but I know I have just given you guys a lot of information. So I'm actually going to shut off the record here real quick, and then I will answer questions for anybody that still has them, okay? So give me just a second here.